my third video, and it's got over 200 views at this point. That's insanity to me. As somebody who started making videos just for fun, which is still true, I pretty much only record them when I feel like it. And it got like 6 comments, all very supportive, you know. So thank you for that as well. And I'm up to 12 subscribers from just 3 videos. So just wanted to give a quick thank you to everybody who's been giving me support. We're gonna jump into these random facts. So, did you know more human twins are being born now at this point in history than at any other point? According to a new study in the Journal of Human Reproduction, the twinning rate, it's even in italics or whatever you call that here on my computer screen, has increased by 1/3 since the 80s, up from 9 to 12 tens per 1,000 deliveries. That's an extra 2 million twins born across the world each year. So, if you're a twin, shut up, you weird freak of nature. I'm just kidding. A narwhal's tusk. A narwhal is that whale with one horn, because it's a weird creature. Reveals its past living conditions. Much like the rings of a tree can tell you its age and provide you cute clues about the life it has lived, so too does the long tusk of a narwhal. Recent research led by a bioscience professor at Denmark's Aarhus University has shown that this particular Arctic whale adds a layer to its distinctive tusk each year. And not only do these layers offer insight into the age of the narwhal, they've been known to go up to 50 years, but the conditions in which they lived, such as level of pollution, temperature, and even what their diet consisted of, they are what they eat, literally. Okay, so this one's interesting. The first person convicted of speeding was going 8 miles an hour. According to Guinness World Records, the first person to be charged with speeding was Walter Arnold of the English village of Paddock Wood. On January 28, 1896, Arnold was spotted going up 4 times the speed limit in his 19th century Benz. But since the speed limit of the time was just 2 miles per hour, this meant he was not going too fast by today's standards. Well, duh. The constable had to chase him down on his bicycle, issuing a ticket for £4 and earning Arnold the speedy distinction. For more trivia to impress. No, shut up, I don't care about that. They're linking to another article. The new car smell is actually dozens of chemicals. Few odors are as pleasing as the new car smell, and not just because it's nice to be in a brand new car, but while the scent may be strangely satisfying, the fact that it is pretty much just a combination of 50 plus chemicals that are released into the car, decaying quickly over time. That's weird wording, quickly over time. The concentrations found in a typical new car aren't dangerous, but among the VOCs that make up much of that new car smell are those found in nail polish, auto fuel, and petroleum. So all things that are bad for you, use too much. This one's actually pretty sad considering how many people starve to death on a regular basis. Food waste is a huge problem. About 931 million tons, metric tons. That's how much food that researchers with the United Nations estimate was wasted in 2019. 61% come from homes and 26% come from restaurants, and grocery stores 13%. So, if everybody in their homes were to just, I don't know, there's not really a way that I could think we could easily get food, especially easily spoilable food, to these countries, but I mean, we gotta figure something out. A bunch of people starve. I don't know how many, but people are starving to death in other countries. We could get some of this food to them. I don't donate any food though, so maybe I shouldn't be acting all high and mighty. This one's interesting. The severed head of a sea slug can grow an entirely new body. The Elysia CF margarita marginata, a type of sea slug, has been found not only to survive decapitation, but to be able to grow a whole new body from it. Ecologists at Nara Women's University in Japan found that a few hours after having their head severed from their body, the snail's heads were already nibbling on algae as if nothing happened. Chads, absolute chads. In about 20 days, 1/3 of the sea slug's studied head had fully grown back their bodies, heart included. How did they live without the heart? I'm going to look into that more, not in this video, obviously. This one's cool. The heads on Easter Island have bodies. The iconic stone heads protruding from the ground on Easter Island are familiar to most. Yeah. But many don't realize what lies beneath the surface. In the tens, I assume 2010s, archaeologists studying the hundreds of stone statues of the Pacific Island excavated 2 of the figures, revealing full torsos, which measured as high as 33 feet. Now that's tricky, trippy, with a P. This one's kind of cool too. Just as the Earth has earthquakes, the Moon has moonquakes. Less common and less intense than the shakes that happen here. Moonquakes are believed by U.S. Geological Survey scientists to occur due to tidal stresses connected to the distance between the Earth and the Moon. I don't even know what that means, but I like that the Moon has moonquakes. This one's pretty cool too. Goosebumps are meant to ward off predators. Why do we get goosebumps? In this physiological reaction, small muscles attached to the individual body, hairs contract, which leads to hair to stand on end. We inherited this ability from our ancestors in part as a way for our thin coat of body hair to capture air beneath it, and that we may retain heat. But as George A. Bubnik, not Pubnik, Bubnik with a B, immature, a physiologist and professor of zoology at the University of Guelph, Guelph, in Ontario, Canada, explained to Scientific American, it also caused our ancestors to appear bigger than they were, helping to ward off predators when they were frightened or on the defense. With modern humans having less body hair, goosebumps no longer cause us to look that much more intimidating. In fact, if I was a predator and whatever I was trying to eat got bumpy when I was coming towards it, I probably wouldn't eat it actually. Not because it's intimidating, but because that's freaky, so maybe it still works. I knew that this one was true. Your nostrils only work one at a time. When we breathe in and out of our nose during the day, one nostril does most of the work at a time. With the duties switching every several hours, I knew it. This nasal cycle is dictated by the same anatomic nervous system that regulates heart rate, digestion, and other unconscious bodily functions, and is the reason why when our nose gets stuffed up, it does so one nostril at a time. That's the most frustrating nonsense ever at night. In fact, it's doing it right now. That's one reason why I'm awake at 1:26 a.m. filming an ASMR video. This one's kind of cute. That tiny dot above lowercase i's and j's letters has an actual name. A tittle. Tittle. It's thought that the phrase to a T is actually delivered from the phrase to a tittle. The phrase was used in the same sense dating back to early 17th century. Cool. This one's interesting. Superman didn't always fly. The original comic book Superman could leap tall buildings in a single bound, okay. But then he had to come right back down to Earth because he didn't fly. It wasn't until the 1940s when animators for new Superman animated series decided it would be too difficult to routinely draw him bending his knees that it was decided that Superman could take off into the air. Readers got to see smooth animation, and a superhero gained a new power. Cool, so laziness is why Superman can fly. Mood. This one's kind of cool. Apparently, space smells like seared steak. When you see footage of astronauts floating peacefully in space, do you ever wonder, what does space smell like? No, I haven't. Well, according to some former astronauts, space does have a distinct odor that hangs around after a spacewalk. They've described it as hot metal or searing steak. Tasty. I like this one. Bees sometimes sting other bees. Bees are notorious for their stings, but humans aren't the only ones who experience this pain in the neck or arm or leg. In protecting their hives from outsiders, some guard bees will stay by the entrance and sniff bees that come in. If there's a rogue bee from another hive trying to steal some nectar, the guard bee will bite and even sting the intruder. Sniff them. I also sniff people when they come into my house, but for different reasons. Sorry. This one's just aggravating. The total weight of ants on Earth once equaled the total weight of humans on Earth. Entomologists have estimated that there was at least 1 million trillion insects, and that only 1% of that number is ants, according to the BBC. And if you took all of those ants, about 10,000 trillion, and put them on one side of a giant scale, you could almost put all of the people in the world on the other side and balance things out. Unfortunately, as humans become heavier, this probably wouldn't hold up today, but it once did. Francois Retkins, a professor, I think it's French, professor of apiculture. I'm not a scientist or anyone who can speak English either. At the University of Sussex, told the BBC this might have held true around some 2,000 years ago. Cool. A dozen bodies were once found in Benjamin Franklin's basement. But were you aware of the fact that multiple skeletons were found in the basement of Benjamin Franklin's London home? The bones were discovered during a 1998 renovation of the house and were identified as being explanation is not mass murder, but an anatomy school run by Franklin's young friend and protege, William Hewson. That's not to say that there weren't any fuzzy businesses going on. The resurrection men could not deliver bodies stolen from the graveyard to Thomas Wharf at the bottom of the street, while there was a weekly public execution at the gallows on the other side of the garden wall. So is this false advertising? Pringles aren't actually potato chips. You won't see the word chip anywhere on a Pringle can. That's because Pringles aren't made of thinly sliced potatoes, but instead dehydrated potato flakes pressed together to their signature parabolic shape. They didn't have to get all fancy with it like that. That's what makes them less greasy. But when other potato chip manufacturers complained, the Food and Drug Administration ruled that the Pringles couldn't be marketed as chips. The company eventually settled on potato crisp. That's what people from England call chips anyway, so not that big of a loss. This one's cool. Most laughter isn't because things are funny. Every culture in the world laughs, but surprisingly, most of our laughter isn't necessarily a response to humor. Less than 20% of laughter comes after jokes, according to neuroscientist Robert Provine. The rest is a reaction to regular statements and questions like, "How have you been?" The ensuing laughter, however brief, helps form social bonds since people who laugh together grow close. Cool. Alright, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you for the support on the last video again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I love getting them. I really do. And I guess I'll see y'all